Welcome to Center Hice Productions. It is August 15th, 2023. Please hit the likes and the subscribe below. Be muchly appreciated. Tell your friends and family. Try to get everybody involved. And please leave your comments at the end of the video. They are more than welcome, and I like reading through them. Interested in everybody's ideas. Anyway, want to bring it out there, just like I know there's most of the podcasts have brought it out now. Yes, it happened earlier today. We knew it was coming. Some of us, more so than others. And yes, I will stick a feather in my cap, as I've watched a lot of videos and I did not catch anybody else call Detroit. I did. I called Detroit and Dallas as the front runners, and I went to Detroit for the simple fact that Stevie Eiserman was interested in Jeff Petrie last year when we were trading him, but his price tag was too high. So I knew with getting Jeff Petrie for a third of what his salary was, Stevie Y is too smart and a genius that is going to jump all over this. So, yeah, I'm going to say we just used a little common sense. You just know that Stevie Y is too smart. Uh, Kent Hughes is much too smart to hold on to keeping Jeff Petrie to ruin um, the cohesiveness of this young defensive core. It would have been a mistake. And yes, I get a kick out of it. I've heard it on some of the podcasts as, oh, they were pushing Edmonton, they were pushing this, and just making rumors. And it was like, just because Maxime Lapierre says something doesn't mean it's factual, which we just can see now. And I like Maxime Lapierre, don't take that wrong, but a lot of smaller podcasts fell that way and fell victim to it. Then we had podcasts that fell to, yeah, they had the right team, one of the right teams, to be interested in them, because it was very common. There was a lot of common sense. There were reporters in Montreal and Dallas that were reporting that there was uh, something being worked on with Montreal and the pieces that were being talked about. And the names were even mentioned, and nowhere's on that was Ryan Suter. And I get a kick out of it because you get, a couple small podcasts mention Ryan Suter being that Montreal should definitely not a good suit. Well, I got bad news for you. For the forward that was mentioned in that, yeah, he was still young, and he was a right winger, and he was a big boy. It would have been a nice trade, to be honest. And I think the bottom dollar is the only way Dallas could make that trade is to unload Suter somewhere else or buy him out. I don't know. Either way you look at it, they just couldn't afford it without, no one's interested in Ryan Suter. So to go talking half cocked, like, oh, Montreal should make a trade with them, that's BS, because Ryan Suter was never on the chalkboard for the trade. Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon are not dumb. Okay, let's use some common sense here. They're not the previous regime that was here in Montreal. Sorry, maybe they would have made that mistake. Not Kent Hughes. He's unloading salary. He's prepping for a year or two now with free agency. They're gonna start nabbing some big free agents just to go with once they've got the core of these youngsters. So very good trade. Jeff Petrie goes to, as I mentioned, Detroit, and I just really had a sneaky suspicion. I had a conversation even a couple of days ago with somebody close to me, and I said, "I'm telling you, Detroit. I just got this feeling, and it happened." So I'm not in shock whatsoever, and I can say that, yeah, I seen this all along. Writing was on the wall. However, I knew Dallas was really anybody up in the area of those two teams. So that being said, Petrie goes to Detroit for quite a cheap salary. Montreal pays 50% of that salary that uh, on top of what Pittsburgh's paying. So Detroit has some very good trade for Stevie Y to put a veteran with his younger core. So, and he can always play with Ben Sherrod again as well. So they'll be familiar with each other. So very wise trade from their end. Great trade from Montreal's end. And you looked at Kent Hughes's press conference, and it made all the sense in the world. He told Jeff Petrie right at once he was bringing him on board. Don't worry, they had a discussion. We will find a place for you because he's good at being cohesive for the family. Like he mentioned Jeff Petrie's family, and that he wanted to do the best for him, and that's the type of general manager you want. So he weighed out: do I keep Petrie and keep him to the trade deadline and let it see if he can accumulate value? That's great and dandy, but people were mentioning first round picks. You might get lucky at trade deadline because someone's desperate. Might. And that's it. All works out. Petrie brings himself where he just came off a bad year. So weighing that out, then would you keep a guy in the lineup who you seen the way he went out? They might like Montreal, but for the family life aspect of things, it's not where they want to be. And it was clear. So you knew there was no marriage here. He was fortunate that Kent Hughes was doing this deal. So, like I say, too many, and I wish some of these smaller podcasts would stop just jumping on it's one thing to use some common sense. We all got a right to an opinion and stuff, but stop trying to push your stuff down people's throat and promote like, oh, a trade's going to happen with Dallas and Ryan Suter coming the other way. That was never what was on the table. Kent Hughes is not dumb. Okay? Use some common sense. And we knew that, yes, there was pretty heavy negotiations in Dallas. But that name was never on the table. They're not going to, just because Dallas has to unload them, that's not our problem. That's something they have to do separately. So, wow, stop. And then, you get others who think they're gurus, that they're all above, beyond making up these trades with Edmonton. You got to think of the past. You got to look at the past history. There wasn't a great chemistry between Jeff Petrie and the Edmonton Oilers. Some of the proposals I heard didn't sound too bad, but don't promote yourself as a guru when you're no better than anybody else. And you see where you stand now that the trade's taken place and nobody mentioned Detroit, right? So, just get some common sense. And then I hear on another podcast, oh my God, this is just hearing the return we got because we only got Gustafson. What's his name here? I'll get it right here. Gustav Lindstrom, we got. I don't know much about him. I know that he was drafted fairly high and just didn't pan out so far. But worst case scenario, he goes down to Laval. And that's how I'm projecting him to. And who knows, maybe he's still like 25 years old. And he could easily, and at least he's on the right side. Kent Hughes is thinking of everything. So, we got one defenseman that's getting older and really shouldn't be a first two pairings, and that's David Savard. His speed's not there. So, maybe this guy comes in and is that piece for the time being until the rest of the kids are here in the next 2 years. Maybe that's what it is. And then he goes to Laval for the future. You don't know, but it gives him a chance to rejuvenate his career. It's a good trade. He's young. He's not doesn't have spectacular numbers, but it's still a guy you can work with, and you get a fourth round pick in 2025. So once again, Kent Hughes picked up another draft pick stock, building up the future considerations for the club. Yes, overall, you look at this trade. This is 2 times we traded Petrie. So we basically got him back for nothing to unload Hoffman and Pitlick. I mean, and then you see the return of getting him back and to Smith and Lagar. Come on. And then you've got Matheson from last year and the draft pick you got last year. We cleaned up on this trade. And Kent Hughes made the right move. So for anyone to say, oh, we didn't do so well. Well, no, you had your projections too high to think that he was worth a first or second round pick. The best we could have done, possibly a second round pick, maybe if we were lucky, but not at the beginning of the season. Especially, they also knew that Montreal had to unload him. So the strength was always in the opposition, that they didn't have to give up as much. They knew that. Kent was more in the corner on this one. They knew he had to unload him, and he made it clear. He told all of us in this conference today. He told Petrie and that's why I say pay attention to the comment he made when he had Petrie coming from Pittsburgh. The comment he made, he was already negotiating with teams. There was never an intention to have Petrie here. So, and then now it's revealed that he had the conversation with Petrie in the background. We'll do our best for your family life, and that's quite a GM. But he looked out for his own club, because had we have gotten stuck with Jeff Petrie, were those who weren't happy, then you screw the opportunities up, that you screw up the development of an Arbor Jackeye, a Caden Gooley, a Harris, a Barron. They don't get the opportunity to grow because of us wanting to hang on and boost somebody's value up. No, he weighed it out. He has a very intelligent mind. It was not worth messing up the chemistry of the ass end of Montreal. So yes, just like I thought, I knew this was coming before the camp, that you wouldn't see Petrie in a preseason game. So just as fast as he ends up, the jersey's not even prepared for him. He's in 3 jerseys within a week and a half. I knew that was coming. And if you listened to Kent Hughs, you knew it was coming. So I say hats off. I commend Kent Hughs. And thank God some of you guys that are on some of these smaller podcasts, don't believe everything you hear, but don't start promoting stuff that never came out at all, because it's you promoting it and you see how far wrong you were. It's one thing to go by a report that you see come out. It's another thing to make up a rumor. And for the life of us, there's nobody doing this that's any better than anybody else. Hockey guru. Well, I guess we're all hockey gurus. Excuse me. Well, I'm going to make up a rumor of a guy's name. That's like us saying, when we had Hoffman, we got lucky to unload Hoffman. But we have to give up. Thankfully, Pittsburgh was in a desperate situation. We wouldn't have got rid of Hoffman. We couldn't get rid of Jonathan Drouin. So think about it. It's not just as simple as you think. But to put up a name of Suter's name out there just because you see Dallas. Are you following the reports? It was not on any of the reports I read. Gary Suter being the other issue. Gary Suter was a separate story that Dallas has to make entire separate trade had they wanted to go through to get Petrie. And it's evident they couldn't pull it off. But Kent Hughs, tip off to him and Gordon. They did the right thing. And thank God they're running the team, because we'd be lucky to have a player or two left. And God knows what caliber they would be, because some of these hockey gurus know nothing about trading. Nothing. And I don't know the NHL level, but at least I can say I have a human resources course under my belt to know how that negotiation with an employer and employees works. Come on, use some common sense. Don't make up just anything because you want to put a hot story on there and draw people in. And this is why I say it's so important for you, the viewer, to really do your research when you're following a podcast. Because here, and I'm not the only one. There's a couple others, like I love Junkie. Junkie's a great guy. And Tony Marinaro, unfortunately, Tony's great, and I think the world of him. But he's got a couple panelists that are way out in left field. And I won't mention their names. I think I've mentioned them before, and I'm trying to be nice here. And sometimes Tony allows them to cloud his vision. But Tony's great. Other than that, at least I like Tony shoots from the hip. And he does pretty good at common sense. He just gets pulled in sometimes. But some of these smaller podcasts, by God, calling yourself a guru, calling yourself, you're the inside tracker now, that a player that was horrendous to the organization was what was offered when it never was. Come on. Does it take that much to try to get views that you got to make up a bunch of BS? Well, I won't go there. You will find the facts will be on this network. That's what I'm about. The truth, the facts. And that's why I was on the money with this trade. I called it, and I will. Just like Tony. Tony pampers himself and pats himself on the shoulder. I pat myself on the shoulder. I called it. I said Detroit, and I didn't hear anyone else call Detroit. Everybody wanted to go with Rumorland. Use common sense. Anyway, thank you for viewing. And like I say, you, a viewer, you come across us, weigh out what you're watching. Because some of these people are just out for the coin only. Only. They want to hit the likes. Yeah, I want the likes too. I'm not going to feed you a bunch of bullshit. Okay, just to get it. Because I'm a person that likes to go with the facts. And if I'm going to ever make money off it, which evidently I'm not now, right now, I got a long ways to go. However, I enjoy it. And that's what we're all supposed to be doing it about, doing it for, is the enjoyment of it and having a place for people to go and just communicate. But I will never focus on making up a hot take, what do they call them, screen catchers, something flashy that draws you, clickbait, I guess you call it. I won't use that, and I won't make up false stories. So I'll stick to what I know, and what I know is coming out honestly. So that being said, I thank you for joining me, and until the next episode, and we will talk to you then. And God bless you, and we'll see you later. Where's the puck drop first? At Center Hice Productions. Remember to tell your friends, family, hit the likes and subscribe. God bless.